Hello and welcome back to the High School. If you're new here, my name's Rich Porter and I'm making these videos to help you one-up your live event production workflows. Welcome to the second video in our first day series, where we take some of the most well-known live production tools and start right from the very beginning. Today our focus is going to be on Notch. These videos are aimed at people who are just getting started, but I hope that even if you've done some Notch before, you might still learn a few tips and tricks along the way. So what is Notch and why should you learn it? In simple terms, Notch is a real-time graphics engine. Other similar engines that you might have heard of include Unreal and Unity. While both Unreal and Unity have been used in exciting ways within the live production world, they were originally created as tools for creating video games. Notch, on the other hand, was designed from the ground up with live events in mind. As a result, it has a more streamlined workflow tailored exactly to those kind of projects. Notch has been used on shows featuring A-list artists such as Lady Gaga, Beyonce and the Foo Fighters. Also been used on large experiential installations and has made significant contributions to the virtual production world. To get started, we need to head over to Notch.one and download a copy of Builder. Notch offers 4 different pricing tiers ranging from a learning edition to yearly pricing. If you're just getting started, you can also apply for a free trial by filling out a web form and letting them know how you're hoping to use Notch. Installation is pretty straightforward, and as long as you have a valid license, you should be up and running in no time. When you start Notch for the first time, a menu will appear. From there, you can start a new project, open a recent project, or choose a template or a sample project. The sample projects are a really great learning resource, and I highly recommend you checking them out. The templates provide a solid jumping off point for commonly used setups like particles and cloners. Today we're just going to start a new project and then take a look around the interface. Starting a new project, you'll be asked to name and set a few settings for your first layer. All of these can be set later if needed, so right now I'm just going to give mine a name. The Notch interface is split into a number of panels which, like a lot of similar software, can be undocked and moved around. I'd recommend you just stick with the default layout while you're still learning, and once you get more familiar with Notch, you'll get a feeling for which panels are most useful to you and which ones you might want to move around. Starting top left, you have the Resources panel, and this is where you can load external files like 3D models, videos, and images. You can bring resources in 2 different ways. You can either double-click on the panel and the Windows file picker will open, or you can right-click in the panel and choose Import Resource, where you'll see a list of the different supported file types. To the right of the Resource panel is the Properties panel. This allows you to modify settings for the nodes in your project. While in the blank project, it only displays settings for the root node. However, if we had more nodes to look at, let's say add an image 2D node, you can see all the relevant settings available for that node. If you go back to the root node, you'll see that the Creators section displays by name. This serves as a record of the artist involved in the project, and anyone who saves changes to the Notch file will have their name added to this section. To ensure Notch knows who to credit, you'll need to go to File, Preferences, and fill in your name or company name in the top field where it says Creator. There's several other project settings in Preferences, but we'll likely cover them in a different video. Moving to the right, you'll find the Viewport. This is where you'll do the majority of your creating. It's a fully 3D environment, and you can navigate around it using the Alt key on the keyboard. Pressing Alt and the left mouse button allows you to orbit around your scene, where pressing Alt and scrolling the mouse wheel allows you to dolly in and out. Finally, pressing Alt and pushing down on the mouse wheel lets you pad around. The large panel below is the node graph, where you'll build your scene out using nodes. These nodes can be found in the small menu on the right of the panel and can be quickly accessed by pressing Ctrl-E on the keyboard, typing the name of the desired node. The tabs on the left-hand side of the interface allow you to switch between the node graph, the timeline, and the curves editor. There's certainly a lot more to discover within the Notch interface, but the aim of this video is to get you up and running on your first launch. Therefore, we'll stop here with the interface tour and create something. However, I encourage you to spend more time looking around the interface. If you hover over any of the buttons, a tooltip will appear to explain what its functions are. I'm going to show you how to make a simple IMAG effect. We'll start by importing some demo footage. Once you've built your Notch block, it's likely that you'll be feeding live camera in to affect it. However, while you're creating, you probably don't have access to this. It could be really helpful if you're designing for an artist to get a record from a previous show. For today, we'll just use some stock footage. Double-clicking on the resource window brings up the Windows file picker, and I can select my clip. In order to use it within the project, I need to drag it down into the node graph, which will create a video loader node. If we push play or spacebar on the keyboard, you'll see that nothing plays in the viewport. This is because although we've loaded our clip, we've not given it anywhere to play back. For that, we'll need to bring in an image 2D node, and once we bring it in, we'll add it to our scene by clicking and dragging from the root node to the image 2D node. The shortcut for this is Ctrl-R on the keyboard. Once the image 2D is added to the scene, the viewport goes white. That layer is now available, but there's still no link to our clip. You'll notice that the image 2D node has connections to commonly used parameters along the bottom. If you want to see the full list of available connections, you can double-click the node and it will expand to show you all of them. If we double-click to close again, the one we need is still available on the bottom row. If we mouse over the right-hand side of our video loader, the tooltip will tell us that this port is the output. I can left-click and drag that output into the video node input on our image 2D. As we do that, the viewport will now show our video file, and if we press play, the file will play back. This might be possibly one of the simplest notch setups, and right now isn't particularly interesting or offering any more features than a simple playback server. So we should definitely spice things up a bit. I'm going to unhook the connection between the video loader and the image 2D node and insert a video null. This takes a copy of the video and I can add post effects to it like an edge detect. This effect is cool but visually very heavy, and we lose a lot of the detail from the original video. To improve on it, we can grab a second video null and pass the clean signal into that. We can then combine both the clean and edge detect videos in a Composite Sources node. By default, this node is just a slider that mixes from one input to the other. I could set the slider to 0.5 and get a 50-50 mix of both of these videos. But using a blend mode might be a little bit smarter. For example, negate might be a fun way to blend these together. Worth mentioning that Notch Builder was never designed for production. Just as you wouldn't use After Effects or Premiere for a live show, Builder wasn't designed in that way either. To use your Notch block in production, you need to export it as a .dfxdll file and add it to your media server project. My favourite choice for a media server at the moment is Disguise. However, if you look on the Notch site, there are integrations for Pixera, Hypnotizer, Touch Designer and a whole pile more. To export a Notch block, you need a Pro license. Go up to the Project menu and click Compile Block from Media Server. You'll see that there's also an option for compiling as a standalone project. I'd caution that building a standalone comes with some extra challenges, as you'll need to look after all of your own I/O in order to control and operate your block. So I definitely encourage you to try working with a media server if you're just starting out. That said, standalone definitely has its place, and when you're comfortable, can work really well. So let's recap what we learned today. We downloaded Notch from Notch.1. We installed Notch and made sure that we had a license. We did a quick tour of the interface, and then built a really simple IMAG effect. Finally, talked about exporting our Notch block for media server usage. Notch is an incredibly powerful production tool that can bring unique effects to your workflow that are just not possible at rendered content. This video only scratches the surface of what Notch is capable of. The goal here was to get you up and running so that you can learn more about Notch now it's installed and ready and working. Thanks for watching and supporting the channel. This was the second video in our Your First Day series. Please leave a comment if you have any questions about this video, or if there's any other software you'd like us to cover from the point of view of getting started. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss our next video. From everyone here at the Hive School, we'll see you next time.